It is, we are running really late today. It's actually Friday. It's still the 25th, but it's in the afternoon. So you may not see this till tomorrow. Of course, by the time you see it, it won't be tomorrow. This may not get live to you until Saturday, but we'll see what happens. I had a kind of special thing going on this morning that I'm going to say that I couldn't get out of, that I really wanted to do. And it sort of relates to why I was playing that song. I'm going to talk about a bunch of other stuff, but I'm also going to try to keep this 10-minute limit today. Okay, I see the clock. It says 1:25. I was playing at a memorial service this morning for a friend of mine's, good friend of mine's, 93-year-old mother who passed away a while ago. But he asked me, oh, and when I say good friend of mine, somebody that started taking lessons from me over 40 years ago. So my friend Bob, who's moved away, I don't see him too often anymore, lives far away, but was one of my students when I was in my seriously formative years. I was still a teenager when I started giving him lessons. And anyway, so, but his mom loved slack key music, and because she got married in Hawaii back in 1941. And then dance music of the time. And so he said, hey, so can you play some like lively, upbeat things, like 5'2". I'll get back to the story. Let me run through what happened this week, and then I'll finish up the memorial story for Bob. Let's see. We had a few new tunes. I do want to talk about anyway, as Bart asked about, I guess I'm going to talk about that now, about an instrumental version of Desperado. And yeah, there may have been an improvised one a long time ago. I think Willem probably tracked it down to a news thing. So good work on that. Maybe we'll get around to an instrumental version of that someday. Let's see. I want to talk, oh, the IGC songs. That is really cool. The list that Bill started, I believe, has some songs in there. I think a couple things we want to keep in mind about IGC songs. Cortez, great one. A couple of jammin' tunes that people could work on playing solos to. And the Neil Young ones, Down by the River, Cortez, and Cowgirl in the Sand. Great possibilities. And then some great sing-along ones. I love this. And some really simple one, like Horse with No Name, but the Wagon Wheel, the Grateful Dead ones. You guys are on a great path, and maybe a few months before, I'll kind of come up with 3 or 4 top hits of maybe a couple different levels. Good for beginners. Oh, gotta do the late night Dylan, which is gonna get me to. Okay, wait, let me run through the other stuff here first. I talked about Desperado. We had some cool songs this week. The Carulli Waltz in E. I hope some people are enjoying that. The best one, I had been putting this off for a long time. Had a hard time deciding the level of that song because, frankly, that could be an 8. But doing this is more of a 5 to 6, I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying George's part. Anyhow, I had a lot of fun putting that together. It's been on my drawing board for a long time, and it just took me a long time to really get around to it. Finally managed to pull it off this week. So, Vanessa, thanks for Pearl Jam. Of course, everybody noticed the obvious tie-in to Blackbird. Once again, Beatles' influence spreads far and wide. And Bob's Fly on the Wall lesson. It turned out to be so long that I had to put it out like in sort of drip feed manner. But there was a ton of information in there. Now that also brings me to something that had another very esteemed Totally Guitars member from the East Coast drop in this week and take a lesson, and I just love it when people go out of their way to come visit me here in Northern California. By the way, it's raining today. Can you believe this? April 25th, and it's raining. It's kind of cool. But so a little surprise next week. Some of you may already know who it is, but it's somebody you've seen before. with some great renditions of songs. Which also leads me to believe I haven't been doing many reviews lately because everything everybody's putting up there is phenomenal. So I guess I can just get in the pat on the back habit. But God, put up some stuff that you guys can't play. Let me help. Okay, that's it for my list of things. But what I want to get back to is some unusual things that happened in this at this service, because they had asked for you know, some happy tunes, and so but I thought, God, I can't really just play like that. I had to kind of tone them down and make them the late night version. So I was sitting there playing. I started off with something like, yeah, was it that? I think it was. How's it go? There we go. No pre-flight check. Open mouth, start playing, suffer. Anyway, so I played that. They also had some songs that they wanted to hear. Oh, this one turned out nice. Try to play guitar like Rick Wakeman. Oh, I hope you guys saw. Oh, only the people that were at Al's show in Philadelphia, where Dave Knock played Rick Wakeman's parts in News from Spain? I think so. Anyway, okay, I digress once again. Where I was going was that they'd asked about some nice songs to play, and in the middle of the ceremony they wanted to hear this. So I did a nice little instrumental version of it. It's available. I guess I should push my albums. It's on the album Yesterday's News. If anybody out there doesn't have it, track it down. I'm sure it's available here on the site somewhere. Maybe the whole refer a friend thing. That's how you get a hold of stuff like that. But okay, to end this story, they were running really late because there were a few important family members who were having trouble getting there, and so I did a little bit. They wanted to hear some hymns. Mom was pretty religious, so of course. But it never really launched into, which even means when I played some of the other songs, like 5'2", it became, like I said, the late night slow down version. Oh, speaking of Camel, remind me to talk about Camel. Oh, I'm running out of time. Anyway, things had to be a little bit more mellow and meditative for this kind of thing. So I did one more unusual one because Bob, my friend, was sitting right in there in the front row as I did something, I don't know what I played, and he said, oh, reminded him of Bob Dylan. And so I thought, oh my gosh, a Bob Dylan song that would be appropriate sitting here for a bunch of people at a memorial service. So you just never know what's going to come out to fit the mood. You can almost do anything. Okay, last thing. I was going to put up a little post on this, but the thread that I started a few weeks ago about things you won't change the channel for. Yesterday, something came on my iTunes. I usually keep, when I'm in the car, I keep the iTunes sort of on shuffle, and it runs through a bunch of different things, and it's always kind of nice to hear because things then frequently pop up that's like, oh man, I totally forgot about that song. And what came up was the first song off an album that I thought, oh, I got to get this off shuffle. If I hear the first song, I need to hear the whole album. It took me a little while because I was driving on a windy mountain road coming home from the Santa Cruz area. And so I kind of waited till there was a break in the whines and the threats, and got rid of shuffle and started the album from the beginning. And by the time it got into the third song, aside from, now this is a progressive rock album, and a lot of these do have theme sorts of things, and they just don't lend themselves well. There are obvious albums that don't do this well. Dark Side of the Moon, really even kind of Sgt. Pepper, but more songs, a lot of Moody Blues albums. Boy, you hear one song and that just flows into the next one. And the thing about the one I'm going to mention in just a minute is that by the time it got to the third song, which is, I think it's the title song actually, it turns into a tearjerker. And I can never hear this song without shedding a tear or two. But I really encourage you guys to listen to Andy Latimer's album from the 90s called Harbour of Tears. Now, this is a Camel album. Andy Latimer's the guitar player and brains and creative genius behind Camel. But the Harbour of Tears album is about maybe it touches me because of being Irish, but it's about people that had to leave Ireland and never to return in the mid-19th century and settling here in America. Now, had that not been happening, I wouldn't be here right now probably teaching you guitar. I'd be somebody else. Maybe not, and maybe teaching you skiffle 50 years ago, who knows. Yeah, the song is great about leaving the harbor, and there are three tearjerkers on this album. One comes up later called The Eyes of Ireland, and when you sail from the harbor. Okay, I wax way too sentimental right now. I think that's enough for today, and I'm sure it didn't keep, it had to be over 10 minutes, huh? Darn it, oh well. That's it. I'll see you next week, I hope. Yes, I'll be here next week, and then things are going to get really crazy. I'll tell you what's going on later. I'm going to have to do some more traveling. We have graduation, finally one kid getting out of college, only to come back and re-enter the next level of college. But more on that next week, and I will see you, it'll be May, right? Yes, it'll be May 2nd. So long.